Hello, I'm Monsignor Jim Lisante, happy to be here at Catholic TV, talking about Our Lady and about the Rosary. And I hope that you'll get hold of one of the resources I've been using for so much of what I say about the Rosary, which is a book by Dr. Vincent Barata called The Rosary is Alive. It's not just a book, it's also in CD and DVD. And talking about the Rosary and talking about Our Lady, I have lots of friends who say the Rosary is so boring, it's just repetition, repetition, repetition. And the truth is, there's some truth in that. The truth is, it's about repetition, but when I look back at the lessons of my life, and maybe this is true for you too, I know that the way I learned was not a one-shot deal. I know the more people repeated and repeated and repeated to me what I needed to learn, it became much more a part of the fabric of my life, part of who I am, part of my being. My parents, fortunately or unfortunately, didn't say to me once, Jimmy, don't touch the stove because it's hot, you'll get burned. They had to tell me a few times. I finally learned the lesson. Nobody learns anything, or most of us anyway, quickly. We learn through repetition. So is the Rosary about repetition? You bet. But it's a repetition of a prayer that introduces us to the life of Mary, the Mother of God, and through her, to her Son. And I think it's a repetition well worth it. I had on one of these TV shows I was hosting an actor named Edward Herman. You may know him from the Gilmore Girls and any number of other movies and television programs. But he's a convert from being a Unitarian to being a Roman Catholic. And any time he has time when he's not on stage or not on the set of a TV program or movie, he's praying his Rosary. So a lot of his friends will say, you know, that seems so archaic, that's an old Catholic custom, but what does it mean? And he said, it's interesting. He said, now all my friends who are politically correct are using their prayer beads because that's popular. He said, so why are prayer beads okay in the secular world, but I can't as a Catholic use my Rosary to connect me, to focus me through repetition on Our Lady and on her Son, Jesus? Well, he said, of course, that's exactly what happens when I pray the Rosary. I come to know Mary, and through Mary, her Son, even better. Why do we want to know Mary? Because there are so many lessons in her life, and I want to talk about just one today. I think every parent knows one of the difficulties in life is letting go of your children. Not an easy thing. You love them, you nurture them, you educate them, you clothe them, you feed them, only so that one day, if you're a good parent, you can let them walk away. And I'm thinking of all the ways in which Jesus was loved that way by Mary. That Mary did everything she could to bring this child to adulthood, only to have him go and minister and walk away from her, and she lets go with love because she knows the unhealthy parent dominates, manipulates, controls the child. The healthy parent loves, nurtures, and then lets go. I'm thinking of one story in particular. Jesus is teaching lots of people, and Mary comes by with the extended family. And they say, hey, Jesus, your mother is here. Now, clearly, she's traveled a long distance. She wants to see her son. And what does Jesus say? He says, my mother? Who is my mother? Who are my brothers and sisters? Anyone who does the will of my Father is mother and brother and sister to me. Now, I know what Jesus is trying to say. He's saying, look, if you do God's will, you're like family to me. Now, isn't it wonderful to think I'm going to be part of Jesus' family? But put yourself in the position of Mary. I just traveled a long way to get to see my son. It would be nice if he would stop what he's doing and come and give me a hug and talk to me a little while. Instead, he uses me as a point of departure to try to teach a lesson. I'm his mom. I'm more important to him than anybody in the world, you would think, but he uses me to teach a lesson. Now, you don't hear Mary say what I just said to you. She doesn't complain. She doesn't gripe. She doesn't in any way try to say to Jesus, you don't love me enough or you don't love me rightly. Mary then, as always, recognizes part of the love of a healthy parent is the process of letting go, even as we know to the point where one day she's going to need to stand at the foot of the cross and let go of this innocent, beautiful, loving, wonderful son and hear him say what she lived. Father, forgive them. They just don't know what they're doing. Mary taught this son of hers how to love. And he taught her how to love. She taught him how to love because she lived it. She lived it enough to let this beautiful son of hers go to perform the ministry he needed. I have to tell you, any priest can tell you, there are times when you'd love to spend time with your family, you'd love to be home more, but there's a wedding, there's a funeral, there's a wake, there's a counseling appointment, there's things we got to do. And how many times I've had to call my family and say, can't be there today or I'm going to be late, something came up. And I have to say, thank God I have the kind of family that says, the work you're doing is important, we're going to have to let you go, come when you can. And I think to myself, where did we get that value system? We got it by being Catholic Christians who look at the example of Jesus and Mary and Joseph and learn from them. There are so many lessons we learn from Mary, and of course we learn those lessons through the experience of praying the Rosary and of reading the Scriptures. But I think the lesson that I would hope we would keep in mind is that true love gives freedom to the beloved. Mary loved Jesus so much. She had every right, after all she sacrificed, to say, do for me, be for me, I want, I need. Instead, she says to him in his public ministry very much what she said to the angel Gabriel. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure why, but be it done unto me according to your will. If this is what my son needs, God bless him. May you and I and our families have the ability, as Mary did, to love in perfect freedom, to love unconditionally, no ifs, no ands, no buts. I'm Monsignor Jim Lisante. You're watching Catholic TV. Thanks for listening.